You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
If you prefer real mornings, shouldn't you have a real breakfast? At McDonald's, we get real about breakfast. That's why you can have a savory sausage biscuit with delicious hash browns for only $1.50. It's time to wake up breakfast. Single item at regular price. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you. See you, see you.
Celebrity designer Jeff Lewis is back with Hollywood House Lift.
I'm excited to be working with new clients.
I'm not getting rid of that.
I hope I never see you both again.
An all-new season.
Those have to go. That has to go.
From oh, wow.
It's been an actual nightmare.
To oh, wow.
This is such an upgrade.
With celebrities like Josh Duhamel, Christina Ricci, and Gina Rodriguez.
Dazzle me, Jeff.
It looks like Chuck E. Cheese.
Stream an all-new season of Hollywood House Lift with Jeff Lewis. Now streaming on Freevee.
This is Joanne Jenkins, CEO of AARP. The coronavirus continues to affect us all, and we are here actively supporting you and your community. Every day, we're providing trusted information from top health experts, sharing tools to help protect families from fraud, and creating resources to support family caregivers everywhere. As always, you can count on AARP to advocate for you and your family. Join us and stay connected at aarp.org/coronavirus.
Ready to stand out, Army ROTC prepares you not only as a college student, but as a strong leader, allowing you to earn the rank of second lieutenant. You will be eligible for full tuition merit-based scholarships and develop leadership skills essential for your future. Start strong and enhance your college experience. Visit your campus Army ROTC representative today. To find out how you can earn up to a full tuition scholarship, visit goarmy.com/podcast to locate your closest ROTC program today. Army officers inspire, strengthen others. Paid for by the United States Army.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
keep on doing what you do, Rick. You're my favorite host. Favorite host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
Good evening, America, and welcome to the program. I am Rick Robinson. We are live right here on KLRNradio.com. It is Thursday evening, just a little bit past the hour of 7 Eastern. You are listening to the America Off the Rails show, the lead-off show for the evening shift on KLRN Radio. Unfortunately, I kind of sort of slept through the morning shift, but we were up, well, I was up late. I couldn't wind down after the debate last night. I kept trying to make myself wind down after the debate because I knew I had to be up at like at least 5 to start a morning show at 6. I honestly usually have to get up around 4:30. And I kind of got so wrapped up kind of watching replays, watching people's reactions, everything else, that I kind of forgot to make sure that I set an alarm. So I slept through my own morning show. Well, yeah, here we are doing the America Off the Rails show that we haven't done in a while because I've been kind of sick off and on for November. I feel like I'm maybe starting to kick that now, so we're going to start trying to get back to full steam because there's a lot of things that have been kind of languishing, especially since I'm planning on launching an entire news organization in probably 60 days. And I'm still working all that out too. Anyway, yeah, lots going on. Lots going on in Rick's world. But there was lots going on in the world last night too. So if you missed it, we actually did, we have Poli-Sci 11 DMK. Yes, it's a silly name, but it's kind of an homage to Political Science Theater 3000. And I threw MK in there because when I was making the title, I kept hearing the Mr. Garrison from South Park. MK. So yeah, it just kind of became a thing. So we have this one specifically earmarked for nights like last night. So we use this for debates, State of the Union, things like that. So there have been 2 in a row. Seemed like we just did this last week, and that's because we did. At least I think it was last week. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. My days are blurring together because by the time I get everything sorted out that I have to do for the day, it's I'm like, there's more crap I didn't know about. And everybody says semi-retired life was going to be fun and easy and exciting. They lied to me. Of course, then again, it's my fault. I don't really know how to be still, which I think is part of what knocked me for a loop in the beginning of November, because I have been doing intermittent fasting, which I do highly recommend. If you haven't tried it yet, be consistent with it. I promise it works. It's not as fast as if you start taking all the weight loss pills and everything else, but it's more healthy for you in the long run. And I don't find myself being ravenously hungry like I did when I started. But I'm on average, even like this week I've cheated a little bit, not going to lie. Had some potato chips here and there, a couple of snack cakes, things I really shouldn't be eating because I'm old and fat and my doctor tells me not to. But even when I do that stuff now, I maintain instead of gain. So normally, like honestly, the first couple of weeks I dropped a lot. Like enough that I went to the doctors like, what's going on? And they're like, well, didn't you tell me you were going to start intermittent fasting? We talked about that like a month ago. Like, yeah, it's been about 2 weeks. They're like, yeah, it's normal. And then she's like, don't be surprised if the next week and a half you feel like crap for at least a couple of days. She said, honestly, with the way you treat your body, it'll probably be longer. Yeah, my doctor talks smack to me. But it's because I don't take care of myself properly. And I know this, and that's one of the reasons why I'm starting to make changes. But that being said, so, when I went down in the beginning of November, I never really came back up in between everything that was going on and all the stress for holidays starting to pile on and everything else. It was just, November was one long blur, and then December came about, and I'm like, you know what? I gotta start dragging myself back out of this. So I have been, slowly but surely. We are officially at Pearl Harbor Day, and I've done at least one morning show this week. I was gonna do another one today, I promise, but I fell asleep. Anyway, it's only Thursday. I can squeeze in at least one more, as long as I can remember to set an alarm, which I will take care of on the next break. But so anyway, enough about me pontificating and all that stuff, because you guys, you know, there's stuff going on. There's stuff going on. So I have some takeaways from the debate last night. First of all, Vivek Ramaswamy, I'm sorry, he gets mad when people mispronounce his name. So Vivek Ramaswamy, yes, I said Ramaswamy on purpose, because Bollywood Beavis Ramaswamy just kind of, actually, I just came up with his whole full name, Bollywood Beavis Rimswap. Or Rim Job, I don't know. Bollywood Beavis Rim Jobby, yeah, there it is. I know, I'm an asshole. I own it. It's okay. But anyway, so he kind of really pissed me off last night more than once. Dude is nothing but like a bully at this point. And nobody wants to talk about the fact that he's basically in there to make sure that Trump's ideas still get spat out in front of the cameras, since Trump's not going there. He's trying to sell himself off as, you know, the younger, hipper Trump, but the reality is I'm pretty sure he's being paid by the Trump campaign to run interference. Do I know that for sure? No, but I have one of those feelings that I get from time to time, and that's kind of where we are with this one. But that wasn't the only thing. Like, Nikki Haley has been being pumped up by the media for weeks about basically becoming the darling of the GOP. And an interesting thing happened last night. And I don't know if it's because they're used to doing the whole 90-minute debates or what happened, because at about 75 minutes in, she pretty much shut down. You started seeing her posture changing, the way she was engaging changed, and it was just like at some point she figured out that there wasn't much that she could do or say. I mean, I get it, because the media has been propping her up. The other three guys that were on the stage, were pretty much going at her every chance they could because the media has been propping her up. I hate to say it, and I know why they're not doing it, don't get me wrong, but they really need to start engaging Trump, because in all of the polls, he is well out in front of everybody. Now, depending on what states you look at, it's Trump usually up somewhere between 47 to 49, and then interchangeably either DeSantis or Haley in what would technically be the leadoff second spot, and then Christie is usually either right behind Haley, depending on where she is. So in New Hampshire, as an example, Trump is sitting at, I believe, 47%. Haley has, I think it's like 17. Christie has 9, and DeSantis has 8. Now, and again, most polls you look at in the upcoming primary and caucus states, the second place role was pretty much interchangeable. But no matter where you look, Vivek is pretty much right there towards the back of the pack, because he's starting to just piss everybody off. I mean, it's like last night when he kept saying, these people can't even name 3 provinces in Ukraine. And then Nikki Haley kept trying to, and he kept talking over her. Look, I don't care about any of that. I really don't. I want to know who's going to fix this country. Because this country is broken nearly beyond repair. And if we keep talking about the Ukraine and everything else that's going on over there, and I get it, Russia's the bad guy. Russia's the bad guy. Well, you know what? If they are the bad guy, we've been letting them over here for decades. So if they're as bad as we say they are, why haven't they wiped us out yet? We really need to be focusing at home right now. We are basically, this is like one of those movies where, you're driving in the desert, right? And you take a turn a little too fast at night, and there's a guardrail. You smack the guardrail, and your car's kind of teetering off the edge of the cliff. That's where we are right now. We're not headed towards the cliff anymore. We are teetering over the edge of it right Now, we've been headed towards the cliff for as long as I've been doing this. We're there. The brakes got pumped under Trump. And then Biden hopped in the car, and now we're teetering on the edge of the cliff. And that's where we are. Now, you can disagree with me, you can tell me I'm wrong. Look, I don't care. I will freely admit when I make mistakes. I'm not one of these people that just talks to hear the sound of my own voice. Truth be told, even after doing this for going on 14 years, in radio or podcasting, about 14 years, about 16 years all in doing social media crap. But I hate the sound of my own voice, still to this day. So believe me when I tell you that I don't do or say this stuff just to hear the sound of my own voice, because that's not why I do this. But the simple fact of the matter is, we need someone who's going to focus at home. We need to clean house within the executive branch. Everyone says Trump's the only guy that can do that because he's basically poison pilled at this point, so he's only got the one term if he wins again. So he has no choice but to go in and clean house now. I don't think so. Look, I'm not trying to change your mind about who you're going to vote for in the primary. I've told you guys this. I have no dog in the primary fight. I am a registered libertarian in the state of Oklahoma, and we have closed primaries. So I can't help pick the Republican candidate. And honestly, as far as I'm concerned, I really shouldn't. Because whoever wins the nomination is going to get my vote. Because the Libertarian Party is knuckin' futz. And the Democrat Party is worse. So it's not like I'm going to be voting for any of them. But I need you guys that are GOP or that are able to vote in open primaries. I need you to decide for yourselves who your best candidate is. But let me explain to you part of the reason why I don't think Donald Trump is the best choice. And then you can take this information and do with it what you wish. The simple fact of the matter is, Donald Trump will not be able to build a coalition within the government. He couldn't do it the first time. He won't be able to do it this time. I don't care if we have supermajorities in both houses because the Republican Party is not the ideological lockstep group that the Democrat Party is. We saw this with McCarthy. Thanks to the crap that has been pulled with McCarthy being ousted and all the things that Matt Gaetz did and everything else, we are about, I think we're going to, by the beginning of the year, we're going to be down to like a 2-seat majority, I think, if we're lucky. I've lost count because everybody's leaving. But it's because there's so many ideological differences. And guys, before you say anything, I'm not opposed to gridlock. I'm really not. What I was opposed to was the Democrats in the Senate basically putting a poison pill in that if the government shut down, that for the first time ever our military wasn't going to be funded. And that's what McCarthy was trying to stop. And he couldn't get his own party to work with him. That's why he did what he did. At some point, you have to put your job above you. And we don't have people that are willing to do that anymore. I think that's honestly what McCarthy was trying to do, and he got knifed in the back for it. The funny thing about him being knifed in the back is it reminded me of a quote that I saw regarding Julius Caesar. Apparently during the plot of Julius Caesar, 40 people had said that they were going to step in and do the deed. He only got stabbed 12 times. But that's still all it took. But that's kind of my point, though. We have these people that are instigators, that get things started, and then when it's time for the hands to get dirty, even though they make you think they're right there with you, they're not. And we're being led by these people right now, on both sides. And it's sad. Because I wasn't happy about some of the stuff that McCarthy was doing. I really wasn't. But I understood why he was doing what he was doing. And he tried to tell everyone why he was doing what he was doing. The problem is he waited too long to do it. Because he stood at the microphone and said, the reason I couldn't get anything done or get appropriations the way that I told everybody I was going to get them done, the same people that just voted me out, that started the process to get rid of me, were the same ones that blocked every attempt I made to do the things that I told the American people that I was going to do. So I started trying to find ways to get them done anyway, because I made a promise to the American people that I was going to deliver, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, you can disagree with how he did it, but the simple fact of the matter is we're now watching the new Speaker of the House, who honestly so far I think is likely a better choice than McCarthy was. I'm not disputing that. I just wish there would have been a plan in place before we basically threw a hand grenade into the middle of Congress. Because so far I like Johnson. I haven't seen or heard much about him, other than him being lambasted for praying on the floor and everything else. But from what I have heard and seen, I do like what he's trying to do. But the funny thing is, now he's having to do the same thing McCarthy was having to do, and working with Democrats. So at some point, somebody's going to get pissed off about that, and all this process is going to start over again, because we have too many people that don't understand that a Republican majority in 1/3 of our government is not enough to get anything done. It is enough to put the brakes on a lot of things, which is why it's not necessarily a bad thing when we have a split house, because trust me, it's much better that these people are doing little to nothing than basically getting the complete total Democratic agenda across the line. Because if we were, then Joe Biden wouldn't be throwing a temper tantrum right now about not being able to keep the blackmail payments going to Ukraine. I said what I said. That's where we are. That's why he's so mad right now. That's why he's screaming and yelling and kicking his feet, because his blackmail payments to Zelensky are stopping. You think it's a coincidence that when the money started slowing down, all of a sudden all these things started coming out, all of these wire transfers and all this money from China? You really think that was a coincidence? That when Israel took center stage and the Republicans started saying, yeah, no, we're going to do this separately. You really think it was a coincidence that all that stuff started showing up? Because I don't. Ladies and gentlemen, everything that they have tried to tell you Donald Trump was, the Democratic Party is. Is Donald Trump an asshole? Yes. Is he possibly a crooked businessman? Yes. But you tell me a businessman who isn't technically crooked in the eyes of somebody that works 40-hour work weeks. Because there are things that they can do that we cannot do. The thing about it is, let me rephrase that. There are things that they can do that we don't know we can do. Because we're not taught them. We're not taught how to use the 5,556-page tax code to our advantage. We're not taught that with certain insurance policies, you can actually have access to have your own bank. We're not taught those things. Because they want us dependent on them. So we start looking at all the rich people and all the things that they can do that we can't do, and we start looking at them like they're doing crooked stuff, when in reality, in a lot of cases, all they've done is establish generational wealth by using the tools that they had access to, that they find out about because they can afford to pay people to tell them how to make more money and how to save their money and how to invest it properly, and we're sitting here and all we get is the stock market. You know how many super wealthy people aren't even in the goddamn stock market? Pardon my language. They don't have to be. There's a reason they want me and you and everybody with a retirement package tied to that stock market, because we're propping it up. We are the insurance policy against another collapse like the Great Depression. That's why they wanted everyone in it. These are the things no one will tell you. This is why I do what I do. And this is why we desperately need someone who will fight for this country. You have to decide who that is. And when I say fight for this country, I mean to fight for the ideals of this country, no matter where that takes them. So when people start talking about the similarities between Ukraine and Israel, that's kind of where I draw the line, folks. Ukraine is not a democracy. They LARP one on TV all day, every day, but they're not one. Israel is a democracy. Israel is the only democracy that I know of, the only truly westernized democracy in the Middle East. And everyone in the world is trying to wipe them off the map. Does everybody forget that that when we started, working all these deals out with Russia, and one of the things we told them would never happen is we would never let another border state of theirs into NATO. Because I remember that. Nobody seems to want to talk about that. You know why they don't want to talk about that? Because Vladimir Zelensky has Joe Biden over a barrel. So does China. For all I know, in some way, maybe Donald Trump is in Russia's pocket. But I will say he wasn't behaving like somebody that was in Russia's pocket when he was in office. He didn't clear the way for Putin to invade Ukraine. Joe Biden did that. You guys keep trying to tell me that he's the bad guy. As somebody who's been a business owner, I understand why he does a lot of the things that he does. And I also understand that most of these things that he's under investigation for and now been charged for in the state of New York are all things that were convoluted, things that wound up, statutes of limitations got revised to make this work. So now you have Democrats that are being caught up in those nets, and now they're pissed. Because Democrats that have done some of the same things Donald Trump has done, they thought they were going to be fine because their last name isn't Trump, are being caught up in those same nets in New York. All because an over-ambitious prosecutor was able to go in and make changes to how the law works in New York, and everybody was okay with it. Now, look. At some point, Donald Trump is going to catch a charge that he's not going to be able to get out of. It's inevitable. They're throwing everything they can at him. And they're going to keep throwing everything they can at him. I don't know why, other than the fact I still honestly believe that he made a deal with the devil in 2016 and told Bill Clinton that he would run against his wife and take it on the chin so she could get into office. And I think at some point he figured out, I've said this before, I'm not really sure why I'm going down this rabbit hole again right now, but if I'm saying it, there's got to be a reason I'm saying it. Same thing when I used to preach. When it goes a different direction, you just run with it, because there's got to be a reason. So, Donald Trump was supposed to take it on the chin. You don't believe me? Go back and look at the tapes. He was saying completely outlandish things all the way up until the day that the votes came in. Like I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, they'll still vote for me. I'm the commander-in-chief. The troops will do whatever I tell them, even if it means going door to door and kicking doors in. Those are things that would have had anybody else thrown out on their ass. And yet somehow he still kept bringing more people in. This is the same thing we're watching now with these indictments. Every time he gets charged with anything, even though it was primarily being used as a smokescreen, because if you'll notice, anytime he got charged with anything was the same time the bad news for Biden was dropping. But the same thing that happened in 2015 and 2016 is happening again. Every time they throw something at him, he comes back stronger. Now, do I want an 80-year-old man in the White House? No, we've had enough of that. I don't want any more of that. I don't want that ever again, if I'm being quite frankly honest. I'm gonna steal it. I'm gonna steal a saying from my Tuesday, well, it used to be Tuesday, now Wednesday co-host and former morning co-host, Stacey Lennox, who used to say all the time, I don't think people who shouldn't be buying green bananas should be on the ballot for president. I firmly support and endorse that message, which is why I think we really should be looking at the ones that are in the undercard. If you want someone that is as close to Trump as possible, but can articulate his ideas, and actually do the things that he says he's going to do. You've watched Ron DeSantis do it in Florida. He's done everything that he said he was going to do. Again, the only reason the only issue that I have with DeSantis is if he knew he was going to be doing this, he should have basically went to everybody and said, look, I'm planning on running for president, so we're going to have to figure something else out, because I don't want to basically leave you guys 2 years into my next term and go, oh, look, I'm president now. I hate that shit. I hate that even more than I hate the fact that now sophomores and juniors can leave college to go pro and not even worry about finishing their degrees. Because most of those people that do that, they're lucky if they get a year or two in, and because it goes from the point where it's making almost no money to, oh my God, money, they're broke as soon as something happens to them because they didn't do anything to save it or keep it. It's just bad. But again, good for the NFL. It's good for the NCAA because every time they're on the field, they're like, oh, this is so-and-so, and he used to play for this team. So somebody else that's coming up out of high school sees them playing on the actual, the big show. I know that's not their term. I don't think they have one for them. Baseball is like going to the show. Wrestling is the big show. I don't think they have one for football. I've never really thought about that before. But it's a big draw for the NCAA. All these schools that can basically pump out information about, hey, this person was a junior here and has already made it pro, and this person did this and this person did that. That helps with their recruiting. But it doesn't take into account that person's future. All of these things are to make money. Last night was about making money. Last night was about putting News Nation on the map, which I had never honestly heard of before. The weirdest thing, and then we need to take the break because I'm over. The weirdest thing was finding out that Chris Cuomo was part of News Nation, and then listening to him, because honestly I was like, you know what, I didn't even know YouTube TV had it. That's how little it's talked about. I have YouTube TV, and I looked at it because first I was trying to figure out how we were going to live stream the debate, and then I figured out that I could either do Rumble or on the CW, so I didn't even worry about looking to see if there was News Nation on YouTube TV. Turns out there was. So when the debate was over, I turned it on, and it's Chris Cuomo talking. And I honestly, I was like, is CERN doing their shenanigans again? Because this does not seem or sound like the Chris Cuomo from CNN. I don't know if he was LARPing. I don't know if it's because the demographics are different over there. But if he was LARPing, he was doing a hell of a job of sounding moderate. It was really scary. Like, to the point where I was like, oh my God, what the hell happened to Chris Cuomo? I even tweeted about it. One of the local hosts I know was like, okay, who the fuck body snatched Chris Cuomo? And then I added Newsmax too. One of the local hosts I know responded and said, reality. Which I thought was kind of funny. Alright. We have at the point where we really do need to take a break, because I got to get something to drink. And this will give me a couple of minutes to do that. Alright, hang on, let me check one other thing here, because I turned this off last night. It does make my life a little easier.
Before I'm over the line and moving under my prime.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the America Off the Rails show. I am Rick Robinson. We will be back after these messages. Don't forget, coming up after me, we do have, I believe this is Disasters Night, I think. I've lost track. And I don't have the schedule in front of me. And Jen and Rick hopefully will be tonight. I haven't heard from Jen yet. I will be honest, if she bails, I'm not coming back and doing another solo. So we may or may not have one later tonight. I haven't heard from her yet. But we're going to take a quick break here. We'll come back and finish out the show. Still got lots of debate stuff to talk about. Chris Christie dropped a couple of big loads on the stage as far as I was concerned last night, so I'm hoping these are the next ones to go. We'll talk about that when we get back. Stay tuned.
I'm the hardest, dark bitch, watching. I'm the fucking king of rock, bitch, popping, spitting hot shit, I'm dropping, chronic. I think I'm motherfucking lost it. Matter of fact, making racks where it's at. Have my back to the map, not in.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
If you prefer real mornings, shouldn't you have a real breakfast? At McDonald's, we get real about breakfast. That's why you can have a savory sausage biscuit with delicious hash browns for only $1.50. It's time to wake up breakfast. Single item at regular price. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you, see you, see you.
Celebrity designer Jeff Lewis is back with Hollywood House Lift.
I'm excited to be working with new clients.
I'm not getting rid of that.
I hope I never see you both again.
An all-new season.
Those have to go. That has to go.
From oh, wow,
It's been an actual nightmare.
to oh, wow.
This is such an upgrade.
With celebrities like Josh Duhamel, Christina Ricci, and Gina Rodriguez.
Dazzle me, Jeff.
It looks like Chuck E. Cheese.
Stream an all-new season of Hollywood House Lift with Jeff Lewis, now streaming on Freevee.
This is Joanne Jenkins, CEO of AARP. The coronavirus continues to affect us all, and we are here actively supporting you and your community. Every day, we're providing trusted information from top health experts, sharing tools to help protect families from fraud, and creating resources to support family caregivers everywhere. As always, you can count on AARP to advocate for you and your family. Join us and stay connected at aarp.org/coronavirus.
Ready to stand out, Army ROTC prepares you not only as a college student, but as a strong leader, allowing you to earn the rank of second lieutenant. You will be eligible for full tuition merit-based scholarships and develop leadership skills essential for your future. Start strong and enhance your college experience. Visit your campus Army ROTC representative today. To find out how you can earn up to a full tuition scholarship, visit goarmy.com/podcast to locate your closest ROTC program today. Army officers inspire, strengthen others. Paid for by the United States Army.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
That's the furthest thing from how I feel, but I'm too proud to open up and ask you to pick me up and pull me out this hole I'm trapped in.
Welcome back into the program, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rick Robinson. You are listening to the America Off the Rails show. We are live right here on KLRNradio.com. We do this thing every Thursday night. As long as I have a voice, I have to admit it's been fading in and out on me lately because allergies is one of the reasons why I hadn't been doing as much radio. But we're here, we're back, we're live, and we're talking about debate shenanigans. This is probably one of the biggest bombs I heard, or dumps, depending on how you want to put it, that I heard Christy drop on the stage last night.
You do not favor a ban on trans medical treatments for minors, saying it's a parental rights issue. The surgeries done on minors involve cutting off body parts at a time when these kids cannot even legally smoke a cigarette. Kids who go from puberty blockers to cross-sex hormones are at a much greater likelihood of winding up sterile. How is it that you think a parent should be able to okay these surgeries, never mind the sterilization of a child? And aren't you way too out of step on this issue to be the Republican nominee?
No, I'm not. Because Republicans believe in less government, not more. In less involvement with government, not more in government involvement in people's lives. And you know what, Megan? I trust parents. And we're out there saying that we should empower parents in education. We should empower parents to make more decisions about where their kids go to school. I agree. We should empower parents to be teaching the values that they believe in their homes without the government telling them what those values should be. And yet we want to take other parental rights away. I'm sorry. As a father of 4, I believe there is no one who loves my children more than me. There's no one who loves my children more than my wife. There's no one who cares more about their success and health in life than we do. Not some government bureaucrat, you look at these jokers down in Congress. It takes.
All right, so we're going to stop in there because I really can't handle much more of him speaking, if I'm being completely honest with you. But we're going to stop it there because that basically was the meat of what I wanted to talk about. Now, this sounds really good, right? If you're like pro-less, if you're one of those people, less government, blah, 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 he's tickling your ivories. But he's leaving something off because this is child abuse. Nobody wants to say that. Nobody wants to talk about that part out loud. But we're talking about child abuse. We're talking about allowing children who can't make other decisions, mind you. They're not able to decide when they're not at an age when they can decide if they want to smoke. They're not at an age when they can decide if they want to drink. But they can pick their gender? Are you kidding me? This is supposed to be a decision between children and parents and doctors? I said this last night, I'm going to say it again. By this logic, Chris Christie is basically calling for the demolishment of the Child Protective Services. Now, I will tell you, the Child Protective Services is not a perfect entity. I know, because I've gone through it. My oldest stepdaughter was given up for basically adoption when I left my first wife. I left my first wife and took the 2 kids that we had together and moved in with my grandmother because she was doing all kinds of bad things, and I didn't find out about it until it was nearly too late, and we very nearly lost our kids. So I tried. I really did. I went through this for over a year and kept trying to work with her and explain to her, look, I married you. I want to make this work. But every time I turned around, she was basically falling back down again. And the CPS lady looked at me and said, if you don't do something, I'm going to have to take your kids. She said it to both of us. The very next day, the now first ex-wife was on the same routine. So I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm taking the kids and I'm leaving. You can try to fight me in court if you want. I will use all the documentation from CPS if I have to prove why I took them and why I left. And I moved in with my grandma, and I stayed there for a couple of years because I had absolutely nowhere else to go. But during this time, my oldest stepdaughter, and I only use that term to make sure you guys know what I'm saying because I've never called her that. She's my daughter. But my ex-wife wound up giving guardianship, and eventually my parents tried to adopt my stepdaughter because she wouldn't let her come with me. That's fine. she I had no legal rights to her. The guy that actually is her dad was on the birth certificate, everything else, so there was not much I could do. So when she said, hey, I'm going to give guardianship to your parents, I was just happy that she wasn't going to be with her anymore. So then, I'm going to get mad when I say this part, but so then the son of a bitch figures out that she's given guardianship to my parents and that they have filed for an adoption that, as far as they knew, had been approved and certified, or was it, well, actually, I guess they hadn't done the adoption yet. The guardianship was what they did. But they couldn't figure out a way to get a hold of him, so they used the old school thing about, put it in the newspaper for 30 days, blah, 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 blah. They never got a response, so the guardianship was granted. So my first ex-wife, real life Peg Bundy, just to kind of let you know, decided that even though my daughter wasn't in her home anymore, she was taking Bio Dad back to court for more child support. So he gets hit with the paperwork, and then he finds out that she's hitting him for child support to have it go up, and my daughter's not even in the home. So he hires an attorney. Apparently there was some sort of I that wasn't dotted or T that wasn't crossed properly in the guardianship, so he was able to get that tossed out. So even though she was at that time going on 8 years old and had seen him maybe 4 times because he wanted absolutely nothing to do with her, the judge basically said, "You're dad, you take her." From the moment he moved in there, or moved her in there, he started treating her as his wife. And yes, his wife. In every way possible. This is an 8-year-old child. While he was doing these things, he started spreading rumors about every other man that had ever been in her life. CPS was called. Unbeknownst to us, and I didn't find this out until she was 18 years old and I was basically allowed to talk to her again. She's 30 now, by the way, and we have a great relationship. She was locking him in a closet. I'm sorry, vice versa. He was locking her in a closet and telling her that she couldn't come out until she admitted what he had been telling everyone. So at this point, I'd been divorced from my first wife for the first time for about 6 months. So she finds a way to get the divorce overturned. Didn't even know that was possible, but she did. Tries to drag me back into court. Gets everything changed. And I mean everything. Then tries to kidnap my kids. It was a Wednesday visitation. I kept being told by my attorney that we couldn't stay in the same area when she was doing the Wednesday visitations because that would be considered a breach. And I'm like, look, if I leave her alone, she's going to run. And I knew it, and I told him that. Well, if you don't leave them alone, her attorney's already told me that he's filing contempt of court next week. So, at this point, I'd started seeing somebody. We'd been divorced. Divorce went on for almost a year. We'd been divorced for about 6 months. It's been about a year and a half. I just started seeing somebody. Casually. I mean, it wasn't anything super serious yet. But so I talked to her about it, and she's like, well, I don't really know, but I don't know if you want to be facing contempt of court charges. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So we went ahead and we left. We didn't go too far. We stayed in the same town because it was one of those things where I had to drive to the halfway point. So we took her kid and my oldest son, and our middle 2 kids, because she became second wife years later. But so we took her oldest and my 2, and we went to another place for a couple hours till visitation was over. Came back and they were gone. She ran off. It took them to another county and started trying to initiate the entire process all over again. So I fired my attorney that day, hired another attorney, filed an emergency injunction. So I'm dealing with all that, right? And one of the times that I'm in the meeting with this new attorney explaining everything that's going on, my phone is being blown up by Child Protective Services because they want to speak to me about allegations that are being raised by my oldest daughter. So I tell my new attorney what's going on. She said, here's my card, take it with you. Tell them that you are not refusing to answer their questions, but that you are requesting that I be present, so you want it to be rescheduled. So that's what I did. I walked in with her card. I said, somebody's asking to see me. This is from my attorney. She wants this set up on another time because we have another matter going on. I was basically told if I didn't go in there and answer their questions, that I would have a permanent black mark on my record that could never be taken off. Not that I was admitting that I had done anything, not that I actually did do anything, but because I refused to answer questions, I was going to have a permanent black mark as far as CPS was concerned. And I said, look, I'm only doing what my attorney told me to do. My attorney said she wants to be present for these questions. This is her number, you call her about it. But I am not ignoring advice of my counsel, because I don't even know what's going on at this point. And I found out afterwards that my oldest daughter had made allegations against pretty much every other dude on the planet that she had ever been around because her dad basically forced her to. Needless to say, at age 16, she finally had enough. Now keep in mind, she's basically been being treated as a wife for 8 years. In every way possible. 16, she had enough. She called the cops. Told him, I'm calling the cops. I'm telling them what you're doing, and I'm pressing charges. He locked himself in his bedroom. As soon as he heard the sirens, a shotgun blast goes off, and he took the coward's way out. She's now, again, she's 30. This was 12 years ago. I am still fighting this crap to this day. So I am not saying, whoops, that was not intentional. I am not saying in any way, shape, or form that CPS is a perfect organization. But what I am saying is, when you are saying that child abuse should be okay as long as the parents are okay with it, that is bullshit, Chris Christie, and that is basically what you said last night. So the one thing that I will say that I agreed with that Bollywood Rimjob, whatever the fuck you want to call him, said last night was you need to go take yourself off the stage and go enjoy a nice meal. Nobody's listening to you. Nobody cares what you have to say. Just go home. You pimped your book last night, motherfucker. We know that's why you're there. You have a book coming out next month. That's why you made sure that you were eligible to be on that stage. And this will hopefully be one of the last times that we hear from you, unless something goes sideways next month and you actually start picking up steam in one of the caucuses. I don't know who's going to be out back behind you pushing, and I'm hoping, I don't know if anybody can. But yeah, he really got under my skin with that crap last night, because it sounds really, really great when you listen to it on the surface. Oh, I'm for less government, so yeah, I agree with it, but it's like, wait a minute, so you're saying child abuse should be okay? I mean, yeah, sometimes they get it wrong. My daughter, who is now an adult, has tried to go in and fix this 4 or 5 different times, and has said, look, you have his death records. You see it was a suicide. You have the information. You can get it from the it's available from 911 dispatch that I had called and reported that he was raping me and he shot himself. I have told you that he locked me in a closet until I said what he wanted to hear. And it's still there. It's never going to go away. Because there's no legal process to remove it. I've looked. Which means, if anything ever happens with any of my grandchildren, if anything ever happens with any of my extended family, like young cousins, young nephews, nieces, whatever, I can't be a caregiver for them as far as in any type of permanency, because when they run my background, even though I have no criminal record, ladies and gentlemen, I used to wear a badge and carry a gun. I can pass a federal background check, but I cannot pass a background check for guardianship, for adoption, all because CPS got it wrong. So you have to understand where I'm coming from, because even though in my case they got it wrong, they are still a necessary entity. Do things need to be changed? Yes. But should we have somebody who's basically trying to pimp a book while pretending to run for president say that child abuse should be okay as long as the parents are okay with it and the child's okay with it? The child doesn't even know what abuse is. That's why it took my daughter 8 years to do something about it. Because nobody else in her life could. Because he cast shadows over everyone who could speak up. The second he had a chance to do it. I'm going to tell you right now, if he hadn't done what he did, I'd probably be the one in jail right now. Because I told everybody, the day that she's finally able to get away from him, he's mine. Which is one of the reasons why it took her so long to actually tell me everything that happened. She knew she was safe to tell me. Because she knew I wouldn't go take care of it myself. As hard as that was, and as mad as I still am, for Chris Christie to say what he did last night was total bullshit. I'm just saying. Alright, so you heard last night over and over and over again, if you listen to any of the after-debate coverage, that, Trump is probably going to catch a felony before the election, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I don't know whether he is or he isn't. I will say that for people that keep saying his attorneys are stupid, they seem to be making all the right moves at all the right times. Apparently, they have filed an appeal against the January 6th immunity ruling, launching a process that may delay the entire trial. Donald Trump filed notice on Thursday saying he will appeal a D.C. judge's ruling that he was not immune from being charged with federal crimes for his efforts to undo the outcome of the 2020 election, either by his former role as president or the Constitution's rules for impeachment. This notice is a minor procedural step, but it sets in motion one of the most potentially consequential parts of Trump's legal saga as the first former president to be charged with crimes. How and when the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit and the Supreme Court handle this appeal could have a huge impact on whether Trump, who is again running for president, goes on trial before voters go to the polls in 2024 or possibly even ever. Trump's legal team says that the charges that he conspired to obstruct Joe Biden's 2020 victory should be thrown out for two reasons. First, his lawyers contend that he had presidential immunity. Second, they argue that charging him with trying to block the election results violates the legal principle of double jeopardy because Trump was already acquitted at his congressional impeachment for his conduct leading up to the riot that marred January 6, 2021. Formal tabulation of electoral college votes. U.S. District Judge Tanya S. Schutkin, 48-page opinion last week, rejected those claims, as well as a different challenge that said the indictment never should have been filed because it improperly tries to criminalize Trump's constitutionally protected rights to speech and advocacy as a political candidate. Since a grand jury voted to bring the criminal charges this summer, prosecutors have sought to try Trump as quickly as possible. Trump's lawyers have insisted their client needs and deserves more time, both as a defendant reviewing evidence and as a former president trying to win back the White House. Appeals courts consider very few legal issues before a criminal case goes to trial and a verdict is reached, but questions of immunity and double jeopardy are often among the exceptions because if the defendant is right that they cannot be charged, courts have held that they should not be forced to go through a trial at all. And because the Supreme Court has never grappled with some of the legal questions being raised by Trump's claims, particularly whether a president is immune from indictment and criminal prosecution for actions undertaken while in office, even after he has left office, many lawyers say they believe the courts will have to wrestle with those aspects of the Trump case. I will say that while it may not actually be part of writ law, that has always been part of common law. That, there's a process to remove a president from office that should be followed, and that's basically the end or the extent of it. You can agree, you can disagree. That's part of why we're here. And again, he's not even my first choice. Much like 2016. The difference is, if he does get the nomination, I will have to vote for him. I didn't in 2016, not going to lie. I voted for the Libertarian. Can't do that this time. First of all, there's going to be way too many people splitting the ticket. Second of all, it's just we're teetering on the edge of a cliff. All right. Well, we've hit that point, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, because there is somebody coming on after me. So I do have to tell you, this show is over.
What? Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl